and welcome to Diecast Restos. I'm Jason and I have here a Lesney Matchbox 15D Volkswagen 1500 Saloon. These were produced between 1968 and 1972, joining the first wave of Superfast releases in 1969. My casting was looking fairly beaten up, missing a front tyre and a portion of its front bumper. This is how it should look, fully intact. And this is a VW Beetle 1500 on which it is based. Those of you with long memories may remember my 25B restoration from long ago. I'll leave the link here. It's the second most popular video on my channel at present. Lesney totally avoided the subject of its name on that casting, calling it only the Volkswagen, or Volkswagen, after an early production spelling mistake. Even though it is better known as the Beetle the world over, albeit unofficially, neither casting made reference to this, nor its official Type 1 designation. The earlier 25B Beetle went out of production in 1964, so this 1968 Beetle was not a direct replacement. It did replace the 15C Tipax refuse collector, which I have already restored. That upgrade was well overdue in my humble opinion. The 1500 released just before the launch of the 1968 film The Love Bug, starring the sentient 1963 Beetle Herbie. To avoid paying royalties to Disney, Lesney avoided numbering the racer 53 like Herbie, instead opting for number 137. You can actually get custom decals for this casting if you wanted to create your own Herbie. The Matchbox model was similarly painted off-white to cream during its pre-Superfast run. All models came with a cream plastic interior, plated metal base, and number 137 decals and later labels applied to each door. The front bumper has a plate with a decal applied over the top, reading 137 and 1968 Rally Monte Carlo. Interestingly, the number 137 that entered that year's Monte Carlo Rally was a Mini Cooper S that retired from the event. Only 2 Volkswagens entered the rally, one a 1500, but that car also retired early. Sometime after the model had been converted to the Superfast lineup, the Monte Carlo Rally decal was removed and an engraved sunburst shape took its place. These cars still retained the 137 side decals though. Pre-Superfast cars also had Lesney's patented auto steer system fitted and wore chrome-plated hubs with tyres attached. A rare transitional model exists that was painted metallic red, a colour that was used extensively on the Superfast cars but was never a production model before the changeover. At this point, the auto steer system was lost in favour of the static option with 5-slot narrow wheels. The leftover cream body shells were used up during the first year of Superfast production, resulting in both red and cream being available. A casting modification occurred during the second red run, when the centre section of the rear bumper was deleted for easier fitting of the tow hook. The 1500 was discontinued from the range in 1972, making way for the Lansing Bagnall forklift truck. Some versions of the casting were modified by a Californian model shop. They removed the Lesney decals and replaced them with their own Herbie decals. The hobby shop obtained Lesney's permission to convert the model, making it a Code 2. These conversions are highly sought after, but are now difficult to pick out owing to the relative ease of obtaining reproductions. I'm not going to harp on in this episode about the history of the Beetle. It's probably all stuff that you've heard before, like that it was manufactured from 1938 until 2003, over 21.5 million were produced, its concept and objectives were formulated by Hitler, it was designed by Ferdinand Porsche, etc, etc. No, instead of that, I'll just give a brief run through the details of the 1500. So named for its 1500cc 53 horsepower rear-mounted engine, it was introduced in 1967 as the then largest engine option available on a Type 1. 1500s were equipped with front disc brakes and a 1500 badge on the engine cover. Except for North America, that is. No disc brakes for you, just a VW badge on the rear cover. That should help slow you down. The rear suspension had to be revised and the entire electrical system was upgraded. The equipment was upgraded too, with 2-speed wipers, reversing lights, a driver's side door mirror, driver's door armrest, and locking buttons on both doors added. Of the changes brought in for 1968, the model year this casting is based on, most notable were the bumper upgrades. These were now larger and mounted higher. New tail lights now also incorporated the reversing lights. But here I'm using Milliput to recreate that broken section of the bumper. While it's malleable, I mould it into shape as best I can, scoring the centre of it to mirror the other side. Then, once it's dry and has hardened, I can shape it some more by filing it. This is a very slow and time-consuming process, attacking it from all conceivable angles. But I'm fairly happy with the result. It's a little chunkier than the original side, but it needed to be to give it enough surface area to attach to the existing fitting points. All it then needed was to be painted, and Molotow Chrome straight from the pen does that job perfectly. To ensure it all matches, I need to coat the other front features as well. But that looks quite convincing at first glance, I think. I'm happy with that. So next I reattach those wheels to the axles to the base, and then coat the rounded axle ends in some more Molotow. Then it's time to apply the decals. As per with my classic Matchbox restorations, I have sourced these decals from Steve Flowers Model Supplies. The numbering font is spot on, and the off-white backing suits the car colour perfectly. Not only are the side decals great, even better is the bumper decal. This is a superb recreation of the original, if a touch too large for the plate, but that is the most minor of complaints. I could easily cut it down slightly. I certainly value the quality over anything else. But once both sets are in situ, I apply some Mr. Mark softer solution over the decals and roll out any excess. What a great close-up view of that wonderful replica. Top drawer. A blast of clear then seals the deal. I should probably add that the 15D never received any trim detailing, as those headlights that connect the front of the casting were cast into the base. Likewise, the bumpers also form part of the base. You'll probably notice here that I don't fit the interior correctly. I went back to fix it before filming the final beauty shots though, but I forewent re-recording it out of sheer laziness. Here's how my Lesney Matchbox 15D Volkswagen 1500 Saloon looked earlier. Well play worn, the biggest battle scar of my Beetle was its broken front bumper. That corner really had been in the wars, also missing a tyre. The rest was typically scratched and dirty, with it in need of some replacement decals. My bug was bugged with bugs, which was really bugging me. But here's how the Beetle now presents. I used Tamiya TS7 on this one to take it back to its original off-white. There's that front bumper fix, another imperfect repair, but it was limited by the lack of points to secure it to. It might be one for revisiting another day though. I was most impressed by the decals. The numbers are a near perfect match to the factory labels, and I adore the little Monte Carlo rally badge on the front bumper. How great would it have been if that number was based on a real entry? I suppose it was, in a way, but this is a very strange looking Mini. Leave me your thoughts on this restoration in the comments, and I'd love to hear suggestions and methods for improving that bumper a bit. Love it or hate it, please leave a like as it helps video visibility immensely. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all my releases, but all that leaves me to say is thanks for watching, and I'll see you again for the next one. Bye for now.